Hi and welcome back to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗀. Today guys, we're going to be jumping down into the charts to take a look at what has been going on with Vechain and the price action of VET. As I get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗀. With all that said, done and out of the way, let's jump on down into the charts here and take a look at what has been going on most recently with Vechain. So we're just going to start things off, guys, with the hourly chart. We are using Binance and we're paired up with USDT. So if you want to replicate the charts, those are the conditions that you need to put in. Let's take a look at what's been going on, this overall structure first, right? Because essentially we've got this pattern formed over this side. We had the pullback down, and essentially what we've got here is potentially a wave 1, wave 2, and a wave 3. And I'm going to just want to go through that to start with. So if we just come back up here into our daily charts, okay, and just to kind of talk about this overall structure, because we had this ABC move. I'm just going to delete that out for a second here. Now, essentially, this is looking like some kind of large A, B, and C, right? And what we need to do is we need to understand, has this gone impulsive on our daily, like so many other altcoins have at this point, and the potential to go impulsive, okay? So what we're going to do is going to take this over. We're going to move it over to our low point of our B, and you can see that we are progressing nicely, but we haven't reached the minimum requirement for an impulsive move here for Vechain. That would actually come in at 8.1 cent, okay, on the daily chart. So I'm going to leave that right there for a second, and we're going to use this as a bit of a guide, this Fibonacci, right? So that's kind of what we're looking for. Now we come down into our hourly chart now, right? We've got a good structure, and we're going to take a look at this structure and see what's going on, right? Because we've got 5 waves up, 3 waves down, 5 waves up, 3 waves down, and now we're on some kind of tracking up here. Now, from this high point that we were at, which was what, about 6.9? Let me just check it. The high was 6.946, and we've got to get to 8.1. That's going to be a bit of a task. It's not impossible, but it's going to be a bit of a task. So let's take a look at this structure, okay, just with what's happened recently. So we can see here that we actually had a good move up. So essentially what we've got is, I won't need to measure it because I know it's going to be impulsive. So you have the impulsive structure just here, right? So this wave 3 high, this being our wave 4 low point, and it may not be finished just yet. And then we have that 5th wave still to come, okay? And the reason I say this might not be over just yet is that there's still potentially a bit of a bounce to the downside to be had here. So if we measure this distance right about here, and we go ahead and we pull that down, this could come down to about 6.1. It could. There's no guarantee of such a low point, though. We'll just start to look at about some of these resistance points and start thinking about where we might be retesting. 6.1 would make sense from one particular angle, in the fact that we've got good support right down here, the previous 6.1 area. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that's going to be required. So we'll take that off there, but we'll come down a little bit lower. I would anticipate somewhere around 6.2. Yeah, probably around the 6.2 to 6.3, somewhere in this range just here, which would be a pretty interesting one to kind of watch out for. I'll actually just mark that up with a rectangle, just so we know what I'm talking about, which will be approximately about here, and I'll just move that across. Right, it's going to be that area, I think. So with that structure, it means we have a 5th wave still to come. And if we do come down to this yellow box, and I'll just pop this fib here, it shows us moving out. So a typical area would be about 7.3, but we would need to move up way past the 2.618 now. So yeah, the 5th wave, it's not necessarily the longest. Wave 3 is usually the longest. However, it can overextend quite a bit. So if we're really super lucky about it, we might get up into that 1.618 off the daily at 8.166 approximately, and that would basically trigger an impulsive move over the daily. Okay, and essentially what that would look like would be, if I zoomed out here for a moment, we'd have a big wave 1 come up here, a big wave 2, and then this be in wave 3. When we pull back for wave 4, and then have a 5th wave higher. And all of this data, all of this nested wave counts, if we hop over to our weekly chart, would account for 1 wave, okay? So essentially what I've been trying to find here is essentially going to be wave 1 of our of our weekly chart. Okay, and then we'd pull back down for a wave 2, and then we'd have a nice wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5, and so forth. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on, and we are super early in the reversal process, because that's ultimately what we're seeing here. We've pulled back down, we found the low points for Vechain, and now we are concreting the reversal patterns. Okay, so essentially we've come down to these low points, which was all the way down here, hitting the 3.9 cent range, and now we're looking for this structure. Now this is really good structure for Vechain, getting real good Elliott wave structure behind it, and we are looking to complete. Once this fifth wave comes in, hopefully at 8.3 or 8.166, sorry, we will then have a deep corrective play. Okay, and this should not retrace more than 100%. Okay, so we shouldn't go down lower. Then actually, well, actually, think about this on slightly differently. If this is a wave 3, then actually we'll have a wave 4 correction, which will be more complex. Okay, so this will not be as deep as a wave 2, but it should not cross the high points of this fifth wave up here, essentially being 5.7 cent. Okay, so we complete the structure of this third wave up. We have some kind of complex fourth wave correction, and then we go up again into another kind of set of 5 waves, which essentially will mean subdivided into these wave counts, right? So all of this move that we've just had again, but for a fifth wave. Okay, and again that fifth wave will take us significantly higher. Okay, so essentially if I zoom out, what we would have is be our wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5 kind of structure. Okay, wave 3 going up there, hopefully wave 4 coming down here. Maybe not that deep, but you get the idea. And then we move up. All of that move, this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 would be wave 1 on our weekly chart. Okay, so we are looking for reversal patterns eventually. We aren't there yet. We've got good structure though, so if this does hold up, then we'll be moving up nicely with Vechain. Then there'll be some kind of corrective play. But that's what it'll be, so opportunities to accumulate more ahead of the next wave. Okay, but once we get this final fifth wave in, which again will be subdivided into 5 waves, and those 5 waves will be subdivided into 5 waves, right? So what you end up with is, once we have all of this done and all these waves out of the way, unfortunately there will be a deeper weekly corrective play. Okay, and this one will be deep, and the reason for this, it'll be as a second wave, in the same way that we saw over here. Okay, where we had this really deep wave, but wave 2s are usually quite deep, and if this is all wave 1, then we'll have some kind of big ABC correction, another massive opportunity for accumulation, and then we go up for what will be effectively this third wave, but on a much bigger scale. Okay, so some really good stuff coming here as we now look to concrete in the reversal, as we look to kind of complete our fifth wave on our larger time frames. But essentially, yeah, we're in a really good spot here with Vechain. There's going to be some volatility, specifically when we're talking about this hourly chart, and as we move up into the other time frames. Now, what I do want to talk about is the probability of where we are right now and what I think is going to happen next. So obviously we think that's going to go up. The hourly stochastic RSI is heading down to the oversold, but is not quite there just yet, but it's getting there. So in the next few hours, we'll probably see that volatility bring us down a little bit lower towards our target. As I said, down here about 6.3 to 6.2, somewhere in that range I do feel is the most probable. The 4-hourly chart is actually in the overbought area, so we're going to need that correction to come in to allow us to continue that move, but this is probably going to happen after we actually reach our fifth wave, i.e. the 4-hourly chart is probably going to correct when we have the ABC move coming down. The 8-hourly chart is actually in a really good spot, so that will allow us to grow up in towards our fifth wave, and then we pull back down as we have the ABC correction afterwards. Okay, so once we get the fifth wave high, that's where a lot of the corrections are going to come into play. The daily chart needs a correction, and the weekly is actually just starting, so we're actually in a really good spot here for Vechain from a stochastic RSI on our weekly chart. So overall, everything's actually looking like it's going to hold up on structure. So we're not looking at anything being invalidated, but we should also be aware that if the price was to drop down below our wave 1, essentially at 5.7 cent, we are going to be talking about invalidation of the structure, but I don't think that is likely. I think we're more than likely going to be getting the fifth wave, and then we go into the ABC correction. The ABC correction should not drop down lower than the fifth wave up high this side. Again, again, that being 5.732 approximately. So after all that, we should be, looking at another fantastic rally to the upside. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.